All right, today we're going to do an air brake inspection. I'm Yuri with Cdl Basic Training. This is a 2012 International truck. It is a manual transmission, and we're going to start with our air brakes. Now, DMV examiner might tell you start whenever you're ready. They might give you a spiel. You can do air brakes or incab, or they might not say nothing, just sit there and have you start. So no matter what they say, we like to start off with air brakes just because it's an air brake. It's a pass or a fail on that. Now, I'd like to start with my air brake inspection. First thing I'm going to do is put on my seatbelt. Now, for the DMV purposes here in California, we're in Southern California, they don't care about seatbelt no more so long as you have it on. So I'm not going to do a check. Just make sure you have it on at all times. Next thing I'm going to do is a safe start, and you have to say the word safe start and start the truck safely. That doesn't mean turn the key and start the truck. That means making sure the truck is in neutral and letting them know that, and that you're going to check their air brakes. So I'll pull on both of them, make sure that they're on. Now I'm going to turn the key on and make sure my ABS light turns on and off. Okay, my ABS light turned off. Now the first thing I'm going to check is to make sure that this truck cuts out properly. It should cut out no more than 140. And you could say the parameter is 120 to 140, but most examiners might even ask you, but what's the most? So I don't bother with the 120 anymore. We only say it should cut out no more than 140. And for the purpose of this test, I'm going to use the primary air gauge only. For me, it says number 1, but my Volvo over there does say an F and a B. Primary on the Volvo would be the F, the front one. Now I'm going to go ahead and now start the truck and take it to cutout. As I mentioned earlier, no more than 140. In between 1,000 and 1,500 RPMs. For me on this gauge, it's going to be right at 1,300, which is right in between those two, 10 and 15, until the truck cuts out. Now once the truck cuts out, I'm going to wait like 2 seconds, make sure that needle stops moving, and then I'll give the reading and explain if it was a good test. I'll wait a couple seconds after the spit. I don't go by the spit, I go by the needle stopping. There, my needle stopped moving at 127 PSI, and this is a good test because that's no more than 140. Now I'm gonna go ahead and jump into the next test, which is our applied brake leak test. Now the purpose of the test, you gotta let them know what's the reason. Now the reason for that is to make sure that this truck, which is a Class A vehicle, tractor and trailer, does not lose more than 4 PSI in 1 minute. I might even ask them to help me set a timer for a minute. We're gonna imagine that the examiner set a timer, since I don't have another phone or nothing here. They don't have a tablet on them, but most likely they might even tell you to count it in your head. They might pull out their tablet and hand it to you. Just be ready for anything when this 1 minute comes to play. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and shut the truck off. Actually, I like to put it in gear beforehand, but you could do it before or after. It's easier to put it in gear with the truck running. So I'm gonna put the truck in low gear. For me, that's second. Then I'm going to shut the truck off. Then remove my clutch. Turn the truck back to auxiliary. All right. I'm gonna lower my window so we have air. So excuse me. Now, I mentioned ABS light once before, so I don't have to mention it again. But if I didn't mention it the first time, I can recover right here on the ABS light. Now, I'm going to go ahead and release both these air brakes and let the pressure settle. I am in low gear, so the truck will not move. Now I'm going to go ahead and step on the brake and let the air pressure settle again. I use both my feet because I'm an old man. My knees hurt. And then you'll give the reading. Now I know that my air gauge on this truck runs in 15 PSI intervals. And between the 90 and the next little line on here is 15 psi, so that line is 105. The halfway point is half of 15, which is 7.5. That's a little bit below the halfway point. I'll call that 95 psi. Mr. Examiner, please start your minute, and then we'll go ahead and go through the minute if they handed you the phone or if they have theirs on. Now, once you hear the minute up and it beeps, you have to repeat yourself first, if it was a good test or not, and then you can remove your feet. At this point, if you did something wrong, you didn't do cutout correctly, you didn't start the truck correctly, you didn't do a safe start, you didn't mention one of these, you're only going to use one gauge. You can use a primary or secondary. Here's where they might even tell you, are you sure you did that test correctly? Are you happy with it? And if you didn't do it correctly, then you have a chance to recover and do, you know what, I messed up, I'm going to go back to cutout and start it all over again with the safe start from the way beginning. Now, this truck is not losing anything. It's still sitting right there at 95. We're going to imagine a minute went by and the alarm went off for my minute. Okay, Mr. Examiner, this is a good test. I'm still sitting at 95 psi, which means I did not lose anything. Now, if I lost 1, 2, 3, or even 4 psi, I would mention that. So if I said 91, that was 4 psi loss. It's a good test because I didn't lose more than 4. I didn't lose anything here. I'm going to go ahead and remove my feet now. So now I'm going to jump into the next test, which is my low air warning. psi. This is a good test because the light and tone, the alarm and tone came on no lower than 55 psi. Now I'm going to go ahead and jump into my pop out test, and the purpose of this test is to make sure that these valves pop out no lower than 20. I'm going to go ahead and start that test now. So. Now I'm going to take my time because I know this one pops like right at 40. And this line right here where it's sitting at is the 45 mark. So I want to make sure that this truck passes and simulate a perfect test. 40 psi. This is a good test because both valves popped out no lower than 20. Now, I'll just shut this off for a moment so we can talk. Now, if they want to hear the parameters, 20 to 45 on the lower warning. If they want to hear the parameters, 55 to 75. You want to take your time and give the reading exactly when the needle does what it has to do. Like on the lower warning, if you pump it a couple of extra turns and it drops to like 60, well, the alarm came on up here, not at 60. Same thing with this pop out. If I would have kept going a little bit more and maybe the needle settled a little lower, well, it didn't pop down here. It popped up here at 40, not at like 30 something or even 30. You want to give the needle on those two tests exactly when it happens. Okay? Now, I'll go ahead and you'll still hear the beeping and everything and explain what the next test is. So, we'll get back to where we need to be at. So you don't shut your truck off. I was just explaining. You'll leave your truck just like this and go into your next test, which is our parking brake test. And the purpose of the test is to make sure that both of these valves are working properly. So I'm going to do another safe start, which means making sure I'm in neutral again and both the brakes are applied. I'm going to go ahead and start the truck, take it back to cutout. Now, if you did your cutout correctly, you want to make sure that on the second time, you don't mention any kind of numbers, but we do acknowledge when the cutout happens. So this way we can go ahead and jump into our next test. Now, you can't do a parking or a service brake test if the truck does not have any air. We have to take it back to cutout. So you have to have full tanks to do a parking brake test. again, once it does a cutout, I like to wait 2-3 seconds, make sure that needle stops moving, and I'll acknowledge when the cutout happened by mentioning that the needle stopped moving so that I can jump into my parking and service brake test. Now, some people like to do their in-cab inspection and all this stuff. I'm more of a one-track mind. Let's knock out one thing before I move into the next. This way I don't forget anything. And you're welcome to do it however you want. But I think this way has been the most effective to get these students to pass. Okay, our truck cut out. Now I can jump into our parking brake test. I'm gonna start off by placing the vehicle in low gear. I'm gonna release my tractor to check my trailer's parking brake. And then I'm gonna attempt to move forward. This parking brake should keep my vehicle from moving forward. Both hands on the wheel. Okay, we have a nice tug. Trailer's parking brake is working properly. Now I'm gonna go ahead and switch it. I'm gonna set my tractor, release my trailer, and check my tractor's parking brake. Okay, nice tug again. This is a good test. Tractor's parking brake and trailer's parking brake are both working properly. Now I'm gonna go ahead and release them both and check my service brakes, and I'm still in low gear holding it with the clutch. I'm gonna move forward about 15-20 feet. I might even tell my examiner to hold on because I'm gonna check the brakes to make sure they're working properly. I'm gonna go ahead and start that test now. Okay, and I like to do a really good step on that to make sure that the brake is working properly. Now, you want to set the brake, put it back in neutral, reset your brakes, relax, and then explain if it was a good test. And then you want to keep this simple. My service brakes are working properly because it stopped my truck when I stepped on the brake. Just keep it simple. And then you also want to add, if you remember, that the truck did not pull to the left or the right. If it did pull to the left or the right, you explain why. Maybe I have a damaged suspension, I might have my brakes out of adjustment, or I might even have a flat or low tire, which I don't. The truck stopped nicely. From there, we'll go ahead and move into our in-cab inspection. Now, here in California, we have a DMV checklist. You're welcome to follow the checklist and make sure that you pull it out, or you can go ahead and use the script that you use at your school. I have a script, and I also have a checklist. I'll refer to this if I need it, so I'll go ahead and place it here or anywhere where you can reach it and refer to it back to see if you forgot anything. I got my script that I use, and I'm gonna go ahead and follow it and start off with my traffic monitoring devices. I have mirrors on the hood, I have mirrors on my doors. Traffic monitoring devices are properly mounted and secure, not broken, loose, and missing. They're not cracked, there's no stickers blocking my view, and most importantly, they're all adjusted to me, the driver. From there, I'm going to check my windshield with the seal. It's properly mounted secure, not broken, loose, or missing. It's not cracked, damaged. The seal will not allow any rain to come to leak into the cab, and the windshield is clean. It's not cracked. There's no stickers blocking my view, and it is in good working condition. From there, I'm going to go to my wipers, along with the blades on the wipers, properly mounted secure, not broken, loose, or missing. Those blades are not dry or cracked in any way. And I'm going to go ahead and make sure that we have washer fluid. And we do. From there, with the wipers going, I'll just move into my dash, and I'm going to check my lights. I'm going to start off by turning on the lights and make sure the dash lights work. They do work. Left signal works. You want to point to it and make sure it works. Right signal works. Our emergencies work. And our high beams are working. Go ahead and turn off your high beams. From there, I'm going to mention that this vehicle does not have a DEF system, so we do not have a DEF gauge. But if it did, I'll make sure that I have more than 1/8 of a tank. Now from there, I'm just going to move on to my steering wheel and check the city horn. It's working. Highway horn is working properly. Now I'm going to move into my heater defroster. Now if you have one like this, you just want to go to the windshield on heat, on high, and we can hear that it's blowing and it's working properly. Our knobs are all properly mounted secure, not broken, loose, and missing. They're not damaged or cracked. And if it's hot, put the heat on for them. If it's cold, put on the AC. They might even relax a little bit with you since you're making sure that they're comfortable. The last thing I'm going to check on this is my emergency equipment. Now, I have 3 emergency devices in this truck. Behind the panel on this truck, in here, is my fuse box, and I do have spare electrical fuses inside that panel. I'm also going to check our 3 reflective triangles, which were in this toolbox. They are the proper color. They're properly mounted and secure, not broken, loose, or missing. They're not damaged in any way, in good condition. Now, on the floor, most semi trucks on the floor, on the door, driver's side door on the floor, you have your fire extinguisher, and you'll mention it's properly mounted, secured, not broken, loose, or missing. It's not cracked or leaking anything. It is fully charged with a needle in the green showing it's charged. It is up to date, and it does have a safety pin in place. And then from there, give yourself a second to refer back to your list. All right, Mr. Examiner, give me a second. I'm going to go ahead and check my DMV checklist. It is a proof checklist. They do allow you to use this here in California at the DMV. I'm going to go through all these. I checked everything. This concludes my incab and air brake inspection. And now here it says external light check. So I'm going to go ahead and shut the truck off. And I'll ask my examiner to please step outside and help me do my light check. In the meantime, I'll put the truck back to auxiliary with my lights turned on. And then we'll move into the outside light check. At that point, your examiner is going to give you a thumbs up, or they might even help you doing this with your lights. Once you finish with the front, send them to help you check in the back. I had one petty examiner somewhere here in California that failed my student for not doing a back light check. But it is what it is. You got to be prepared for anything at the DMV. So this concludes our air brake in-cab inspection and our external light check. You can watch our videos to check on our outside pre-trip inspection. It's the same inspection. Doesn't matter what truck you're using on the outside. Some stuff might be moved around, so get used to what truck, whether it's a Freightliner, Mack, Peterbilt, KW, International, or a Volvo. Just refer to your manuals to see what's where, or your school. I'm Yuri with Cdl Basic Training. We also do online theory courses, hazmat, passengers, and you're welcome to check us at cdlbasictraining.com. Thank you.